Hello, I'm Pamela Waldrop-Shaw, and I am honored to have you join me for our third annual Facebook Live December 26th Goal Setting Workshop. It's a long day. It is a long night because we got some good content to cover. Oh, you guys, I'm really so excited about this. You know, we are in that bridge between 2019 and the new year. 5 short days, but oh, how significant and oh, how important they are to those of us who consider ourselves goal setters. These next 5 days not only lead into the new year, they lead into a new decade. So grab a comfy seat, a pen or an iPad, a peaceful environment, and let's talk through what this might look for you to live out your best, to create your most perfect year ever. The one that is designed for you to live. So a new year, a beautiful opportunity for you to write a new, fresh chapter of your life story. Maybe you need to reinvent the main character a little bit. Is that you? I want you to know this truth. Real successful people struggle imperfectly towards their ideal lives. Real successful people struggle very imperfectly towards their ideal lives, towards better lives, towards improved relationships, towards more effective behaviors and choices. And if you want an extraordinary life, yes, we're going to do something extraordinary. And I want to thank you for the love. And I want to thank you if you're just joining us. And I want to invite you again to hit that share button and share with your family and friends, because in order for us to do the extraordinary, we've got to live the extraordinary. In order for us to live the extraordinary, we've got to do the extraordinary. And you're like, oh, that's not what I was thinking. I wasn't thinking I wanted to do anything extraordinary. Let me tell you what I'm talking about. I'm talking about this truth. 2% of all people goal set. You, sister, girlfriend, boyfriend, you are part of that 2%. That's extraordinary. Only 2% of all humanity goal sets. Only 1% goal sets with accountability. Oh, that's extraordinary. You're already crushing it. Like you're already on here crushing it in the extraordinary. That's what I'm talking about. That is extraordinary. Here's the problem. Our feelings take over our thinking. Our feelings take over our thinking. That is the problem. We're going to hit that tonight. I think you're going to be excited about the direction we're going to go, because I'm bringing you something fresh. I'm bringing you something old, kind of old, new, borrowed, blue kind of deal, right? It's going to be a perfect wedding tonight, a perfect marriage of 2019, 5 days bridging into 2020, into not only a new year, but a new decade. So Dr. Joe Dispenza says, warning, warning, warning. Warning, when feelings become your means of thinking, or if we cannot think greater than how we feel, we will never change. Just soak on that for just a minute. And thank you for the love. Thank you for the love. I'm going to invite you to do a couple of things. I'm going to invite you to take notes on the chat so that when people join later, they can see what you're writing about the chat, what you're getting, what's resonating with you. When I go back and look at it, it lets me know what you are doing on the chat. But I want us to think about what Dr. Joe says one more time. When feelings become the means of thinking, we cannot think greater than how we feel, we will never change. To change is to think greater than how we feel. And to change is to act greater than the familiar feelings of the memorized self. Ooh, that's kind of deep. It's kind of deep. So let me put it to you in layman's terms. If you want to get something different, and if you want to approach this year better, your feelings are not your guide. You got to think bigger than your feelings. Woo, can I get an amen? Hello, new year. Welcome in the new year, because I'm going to think greater than I feel, because my feelings could tell me a lie. They could be not very truthful to me. Did you have any moment this year when your feelings, what you thought was happening, wasn't what was happening? Anybody? Did that happen to you? Did you this last year think that somebody was thinking or saying something that really never happened? Because when we think bigger than we feel, we have the opportunity to change something radical. So let's start at a most practical place. And you might be surprised by where I'm going to go with this, but we're going to start by looking back. We're going to start by looking back. True, we have to be careful looking at history, because we can get stuck in regret or comparison or beating ourselves up. But if we can't learn from the past, we are darn sure to repeat it, because our thoughts are following our feelings, and our feelings are following our patterns. Our limited beliefs are based on our experience and our history. And so if we don't look back to make a more intelligent assessment of the history, we have to ask, what can we possibly expect to be any different? The answer would be nothing. So we're going to look back for the purpose of getting a history lesson in order to move forward. So I'm going to ask you this. What worked? What worked? What didn't or isn't working? I'm talking about your schedule, your relationships, your jobs, your habits and choices, your companions, your time, the way you're spending and or saving and or earning your money, your thoughts. Let's start broad and chase down some specifics. Okay, let me tell you who else is on here tonight. On here tonight on the chat are some of my Breakthrough Academy graduates, and they are extraordinary men and women who have invested themselves 1, 2, and 3 times in the Breakthrough Academy environment. It is a process of 2 days, and what I'm going to do in the next hour, we take 2 days at a time to uncover. So they have gone with me deep and wide on this concept of breakthrough goal setting. And so in this experience, you're going to see on here tonight, Curtis J. He's going to be answering some of your questions, and several of the other graduates. And so you guys just identify yourself as a breakthrough graduate and feel free to answer on. But if you have questions or comments along the way, if there are people answering, that's who they are. And I've given them the heads up to do it. So the Breakthrough Academy is 2-day experience. And one of the first questions you're going to ask me is, when's the next one? There's nothing scheduled right now. And so when they show up, you have to seize them because they're few and far between. But one thing that the Breakthrough Academy students do is that they understand the value of doing the work every day. This is my personal prayer journal, and I ran out of space about 10 days ago. And so I had to jump to another makeshift and throw some paper in the back. But this is every day, every morning, every quiet morning. And it represents the pouring out of my heart and my thoughts. I want to acknowledge that I started myself in a brand new breakthrough goal setting workbook. I tried to cheat and use last year's, but my answers from last year were distracting me and they weren't the same answers. And so I started with the fresh one. I already have about 2 hours clocked in on the breakthrough goal setting. I will finish that up between tonight and Saturday, and then I'll be setting up my own new planner, 90-day planner, on Sunday to be ready for the new year. So I want to acknowledge the breakthrough process, and I want to encourage you to take time to consider. There are free tools. There are also free tools. There's this shortcut to goal setting. It's a 14-page document, free, that you can download on PamelaShaw.pink. So you do not have to spend money to goal set. Depends on how deep you want to go. In the Breakthrough Goal Setting Workbook, it's a deep dive. The worksheet, it's a good dive and will get you a start. But in order for you to move forward, what I'm going to say is you've got to look back. See all these tabs in my prayer journal? I will, as I set up my new one on Sunday, I will look at every single one of these tabs, because either it's something that I tab that's already a prayer request, or something that I want to remember, or something that I want to repeat. This tab right here says turning point. This was a turning point. So I've got it tabbed. It allows me to remember so that I don't stay stuck on old thoughts, old feelings, and on emotion. I'm able to go back and look and see what works. So in general, let me ask you a couple of questions. I want you to acknowledge just for a minute that not everybody works this hard at moving forward. So again, congratulations. You are in the extraordinary. You are in the elite, that you're even on here listening, that you're even saying, hey, I want to goal set. I want to get it right this year. I want to get it better. I want to move forward in my life. I want to improve that. You're saying that. You're already in the elite, but we've got to answer some questions. First one is easy, but it's going to take some time. So I want you to write it down, and then later I want you to take some time. And I mean time, not just, oh, these are good questions. I want you to take the questions apart from tonight. This is just the investment of, hey, I've got some ideas I want you to do. Carve out another cup of tea, another quiet time. If it's tonight while you're in the mood and your home is conducive to it, do it now while it's fresh on your mind. But do it before the clock strikes midnight on the 31st, so that you are approaching January 1st. The date in this prayer journal was, let's see, I'm pretty sure was January 1st. January 1st, 2019. January 1st, 2019. That was day one in it. And so I want you to be ready for the first, because there's something about a fresh start. There's something about a new year. There's something about a new decade. Here's the first question. What went well in 2019? Easy. Start thinking. What went well in 2019? Here's the next question. Also easy. What did not go well in 2019? What went well in 2019? What did not go well in 2019? Third question. What did you learn from both? And last question, how will I move forward in 2020 with wisdom and intention from the backdrop of 2019? I can tell you guys started writing because the heart stopped. So now you're writing on your own paper, which is good. I want you to do that. Again, if you're just joining us and you think that your family and friends on Facebook would appreciate a lesson in goal setting, hit that share button and so that they can watch and see what you're learning and where you're going in your life. Okay, here's the reality. Life is not a battleground. It's an adventure. You're not in a fight. You are in an adventure. It's about going after something. It's not running away from something. Yes, there has been pain and loss. I know many of you have experienced this year grief, awarenesses that have cost you good feelings, but you don't have to carry those around except as a part of your overcoming story. And congratulations to you as you overcome, because there is no overcoming without a challenge. And there's very little respect if there's not any overcoming, because when people walk through life and they're like, you just don't know what hard is. And so therefore you don't have a story unless you have an overcoming story, because there's little inspiration without overcoming. And those who created yesterday's pain do not control your tomorrow's future, nor does your past dictate your future. Everybody has scars, my friend. Everybody has scars. They shaped us, the scars we have, but they don't control us. Many of us want things to be different, but we aren't willing to be different. We want everybody around us to be different, but we don't want to be different. We want people to get us because we have good intentions, and we want them to get us based on our intentions. That, however, is not how it works. Just because we know what the best version of ourselves looks like, but we're not living it, we want everybody to get us because we know what it should look like. That's just not how it works. And I'll share the Design Your Life principles in just a minute, but for now, one reminder: growth is hard. It's hard. Change is hard. It's not supposed to be easy. So I'm not on here to give you the, hey, 2-second version of how to make growth easy and how to make change easier. That's not how it works. It is hard, and you need to embrace hard as a part of your overcoming. Growth is hard. It's supposed to be. There was a recent sermon on Elevation Church, and the title of it was, "This isn't what I pictured." This is not what I pictured. Can I get an amen? This is not what I pictured. This marriage is not what I pictured. This child is not what I pictured. My bank account is not what I pictured. The people I work with are not who I pictured. The place I am in my life is not what I pictured. What I just said is not who I pictured myself. It's who I am. This is not what I pictured. Anybody? When a message like that is so universal, you have to get the understanding that you are not alone in processing this journey, but you also have to realize that you will remain the same and you will repeat the patterns of your life if you don't recognize or invite somebody else to recognize and interrupt the pattern. We all think about 68,000 thoughts a day. Isn't that remarkable that our brains, our minds are able to process 68,000 thoughts a day? That's the good news. The bad news is 90% of those thoughts are the exact same thoughts we thought yesterday and 6 months ago and a year ago, because we do the same things and expect different results. We expect tomorrow to be different from yesterday, but we don't think anything new. We don't do anything new. We don't create any real new habits. We just want people to get us. Since doing follows thinking, there's got to become a focal point on tonight's conversation on thinking. Deciding where and how and what to goal set means considering the design of your life. Not yesterday's life, not 2019's life, but the life that you're going to live today moving forward in 2020. So again, ask the 4 starting questions. What went well in 2019? What did not go so well in 2019? What did you learn from both? And how will you move forward in 2020 in wisdom and intention based on those answers? And add to that, what has happened with your goals? What has happened with your goals? If you accomplish the majority of all of what you set out to accomplish in 2019, then let's celebrate you and let's build on that. If, however, like me, you missed a goal or maybe you abandoned a goal, you got to ask yourself some other questions. And I urge you to write this down. And for those of you who are writing in the chat and letting that be your right, please carry forward. Number 1, were your goals set sincerely, prayerfully, and with a decided foolproof process to accomplish them? That's a loaded question. In other words, did you prayerfully set your goals? Did you carefully set your goals? Did you sincerely set your goals? And did you, once you created the goal, did you set a process that was foolproof to make that goal a reality? That's a big question. Number 2, what really derailed you? What was it really that derailed you from your goal? Number 3, were you unwilling or unable to process the disappointment you had, the rejection you got, or the delay in progress? See, disappointment, some of you are writing right now, you have derailed your destiny because you could not navigate disappointment. Disappointment is part of growth. Disappointment is a segue into an understanding. Disappointment is an important element of moving forward. Disappointment tells you turn a little bit further right, go straighter for a little bit longer. Try that again from a different angle. Disappointment is a schoolroom, but some of you delayed destiny, maybe totally distracted destiny, maybe abandoned destiny, just based on disappointment. So number 3 again was, were you unwilling or unable to process disappointment, rejection, or delay? Number 4, did you make excuses or let unanticipated circumstances distract or discourage you? Oh, if only the circumstances would be what we expect. We would all be just fine if we would only get circumstances that we expect. It's the unexpected circumstance that can distract or discourage us. Number 5, was the goal really important to you? Or was it a wish list goal? Was it a bucket list goal? Was it a dream goal? Was it a, that would be awesome if that happened goal? Or was it really, really important to you? Because if it was, it still is. And if it still is important enough to you, will you go after it again? Or were you so wounded by the surprise circumstance or the rejection or the delay or the disappointment, you're like, I just don't know if I can go after it again? Because that is also telling. That means it wasn't that important to you. Because what's important to you, you're going to go after. Number 6, did you stay connected to accountability? Or did you put up a hand to the face like, I got this, thank you so much, thank you for your help, but I got it. So if you didn't reach or haven't yet reached a goal, which element did you let go of? Did you let go of the work? Did you stop doing the work? Did you let go of the focus? Did you stop looking at your vision board? Did you let go of the accountability so that nobody really knew what you were doing, or honesty? Did you let go of the belief in yourself that you can actually accomplish this goal? Or did you let go of the clarity of your call and the direction of your call? What, if any of those, did you let go of? And maybe none of them. Maybe this is just for 1 or 2 of you listening. Maybe it's not for everybody. Here's the newsflash, interruption, commercial. Not everything in this lesson I'm sharing tonight is for everybody. My prayer from the time I started writing this 90 days ago, I started writing this about 90 days ago. I left it open in a Word document on my desktop, and I would add to it as I would think of something new or think of a twist or hear a sermon or read a book or something that was relevant to the Design Your Life process. I would add that too. I made little sticky notes, and I started a stack of sticky notes, things that I wanted to do. So, and I have faithfully prayed about this moment, this hour, this 90 minutes with you. I've been praying about it for a long, long time. Why? Because it's an investment of my time. It's also day after Christmas at my house. There's still wrapping paper and stuff around my house downstairs. Things need to be put away. Today is the 26th at my house also. But today is an investment that I make in you. Why? Because I feel called to. It is a part of what I know is my calling, because it's something that I'm good at and that I'm gifted at and that I've invested myself in, and I want to pass it forward. I want to pass it on. I want to give it to you, and I want to give it to you for free. And that's why Facebook Live. That's why it's here tonight. And so not everything is for every person. So don't feel like it's all coming at you like a machine gun. No, it's not. Not everything is for every person, but open your heart up. In fact, I want you to put your hands on your heart. No matter what you're doing right now, put your hands on your heart. And I want you to open it up. I want you to open your hands out. And I'm going to invite you right here and right now to speak to the God of the universe, palms open, heart open. Whatever is for me, let me be unoffendable. Let me hear it. Let me receive it. And let me be willing to chew it up and bring it forth in a way that is honoring to you, authentic to my call, so that I can live this year of my life in the greatest favor and the greatest explosion of what you're calling me to ever, ever, ever. Palms up, open heart, open hands. Not everything is for everybody, but be open enough, humble enough, willing enough to not let the voice or the face or anything else distract you. Let the words guide what is for you. So what element did you get stuck on or let go of last year? Was it the work? Was it the focus, the accountability and honesty, the belief that you can, or the clarity and call of your direction? Did you pivot your thinking from, I can do this, I've got this, to a limiting belief? Or did you pivot your thinking from, I've got this, to blaming somebody else or something else? Because only when we look back historically and gain clarity on what has or has not happened can you move forward. If we just stick to our story and we justify what we want to believe and what we want other people to believe so that we don't have egg on our face, if we just stick to that, nothing changes. And so I beg you and I implore you to be humble enough, open enough, willing enough, honest enough to answer the hard questions, because these are not questions you're answering publicly. I'm teaching publicly, but you're privately. And so if you will absorb and answer honestly, you have a running shot at having a different year and a different outcome with a bigger result. So, we got some content to cover. That was just the introduction. Are you ready? That was just the intro. Here comes the content. Oh my goodness. Okay, I already reminded you that tonight on the chatter, some 1 and 2.0 grads, Curtis J, will be answering questions. And I'm also going to be going back through the chat this weekend before the 31st to answer any unanswered questions that are there. And so all that, again, to remind you, feel free, ask a question, throw out a concern, and we will make sure that it gets answered in the comment section. Anything that you're like, pa-bam, I like that, I want to remember that, write it out, because then you can come back and you can also review the feed, because I will leave this on my wall. So 2020. I don't even know if I ever, years ago, even thought about the year 2020. There's probably a song about it and a movie about it, but here we are, living, breathing in the year 2020, like kids will wear on their letter jackets, 20. Oh gosh, I remember when 83 sounded old. Okay, I don't want to tell my age, but you know what I'm saying? They're going to wear 20 on their letter jackets. What do we want to leave behind? And what do we want to carry forward? I'm guessing what you want to leave behind or let go of. Can we all let go of some shame, blame? How about let go of some guilt? Can we let go of some greed, jealousy, or anger? Your own or those emotions of others that affect you? Can we let go of some drama or dramatic people? Can we draw boundaries? How about letting go of enabling others or having enablers around us? If we only have enablers around us, then we never get to truth. We only ever stay on a surface level of what we are trying to accomplish. I'm guessing you want to let go of codependent relationships, energy drainers, gaslighters, manipulators. I'm guessing if you have any of that in your life, you're willing to say goodbye to that and let it go. What I imagine you and I would benefit from is a closer and more intimate relationship with the one true God. More honesty, more transparency, living and expressing yourself authentically, saying no to bad, saying no to good, saying yes to best, greater health, greater wellness, higher energy levels, stronger and more beneficial habits, healing and release from any aspect of your past or of pain that invites regret. I'm guessing that you want more love in your life, increased levels of organic, unconditional, unabashed, genuine love, shared humanity for the people who are around you, who aren't so much like you. I'm guessing you want more love in your day, more kindness in your responses, in your schedule, and your relationships. Here's what I know for sure. What we're all after in goal setting and accomplishment is peace. Peace around us, peace within us. That's what we're after. So all those things that I listed that are common conversations, they, in the negative form, rob us of peace. In the positive form, they delight our hearts with peace. We're after peace, peace around us, peace within us. Transcendent peace. One of the most powerful gifts we can manifest is transcendent peace. The world is anything but peaceful. All you have to do is turn on the news, and I don't turn on the news, as I'm sure you've heard me say. In fact, I was with friends for 7 days and 6 nights in Florida the beginning part of this year. We did not turn on the TV, not once. Not a news channel, not a movie. We didn't turn on the TV. We enjoyed the beauty of the ocean, the sunsets, the sunrises, conversation, walks, talks, books. We did not turn on the TV. Transcendent peace, because the world is anything but peaceful. Yet amid all the daily chaos, God calls us to be children of peace. How is this possible? When there's chaos around us, how can we be children of peace? Because we serve a living God who loves us with an everlasting love and who offers us peace in the midst of a situation or circumstance that is anything but peaceful. For God is not a God of confusion, but of peace. Mark it. 1 Corinthians 14:33 says, God is not a God of confusion, but a God of peace. When we lack peace, we're often struggling with one of the common hooks. We're not being obedient in something we've already been told in the whisper, repeatedly. Maybe we did it once, maybe we did it twice, maybe we did it for a season, but somehow along the way, we stopped being obedient of something that we already know about. That robs our peace. We're negotiating the truth, the simple or the hard one thing that we know that we're called to do. The one thing that we know would change everything if we would just do it. The one thing that would make all the difference in the goal that we're pursuing. The one thing that would make us the man or woman that God is calling us to be if we just obey that one thing. You don't think it makes a difference? One bite out of an apple changed all of humanity. One little thing makes a really big difference. One little disobedience makes a really big difference. It makes a really big impact, and it ripples throughout. Maybe that's the thing. We're negotiating the truth. Maybe we've made somebody else the enemy. Maybe we've made the enemy somebody across from us instead of acknowledging the enemy that's within. We want others to accept us, but they don't get us because we have this disobedience in our lives that we just keep negotiating. We're looking around and we're comparing. Oh, comparison is sure to give you a lot of peace. Have you ever compared yourself? I bet you compared yourself this week. I bet you compared your family Christmas with somebody else's family Christmas. I bet you compared yourself in leggings with somebody else in leggings. I bet you compared a piece of your finances with somebody else's. I'll bet this week you found yourself in a spirit of comparison, because that will rob your peace. If we're in a struggle with jealousy or comparison or envy, which can all lead us to the basement version of our strengths, any one of those things, then we need to remember a couple of things. All right, here's some good news, and this is something I want you to take to the bank. Life no, life is not a zero-sum game, meaning that this is a mental self-care tip from one of my favorites, Dr. Caroline Leaf. Just because somebody else is doing well doesn't mean there is less chance for you to do well. So just because you're doing well doesn't mean there's less of a chance that I can do well. It's as if success reservoir, you think the success reservoir is being depleted. There is no success reservoir. There's plenty to go around for everyone. The more we all do well, the bigger the piece of the pie gets, because everybody then can have a slice. Life is not a zero-sum game. Just because somebody else is doing well doesn't mean there's less of a chance for you to do well. My success doesn't make yours less likely. Your success doesn't make mine less likely. In fact, the only person slowing me down is me, and the only person slowing you down is you. But you succeeding doesn't slow me down. In fact, your success blesses others. Life is not a zero-sum game. There's not a limited reservoir of success. There's plenty for us all. Number 2, don't get stuck in the shame and guilt associated with these feelings, because we all have to navigate these feelings. When God's word says his mercies are new every day, there are literal fresh neurons waiting for new information every single day. Every single day. Mercies are new every day. Yet we get up and we think the same thoughts again. We're not even taking advantage of the newness of each day. Then there's a simultaneous scripture that says, capture your thoughts. If it's not serving you well, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is just, whatever is pure, whatever is full of love, think on these things. I think a thought, it's none of those things, capture it. There is a matter of control that we have over what we're thinking. So we don't need to get stuck in shame and guilt associated with these feelings. Rather, acknowledge them. I'm feeling a little whatever. It's healthy to be aware. So speak the truth to a trusted friend or mentor and see what your feelings are telling you. Maybe there's an area of life that you want to improve or that you really need to improve. Maybe you need to address an unhealthy relationship. Are you in some way enabling or being enabled, obsessing over or trying to control or fix without really addressing the root cause, the fix? Trusting God with the issue all the way down. See, I am a holistic girl. I tell people that I am a lot like Dolly Parton. Everything about me is fake except my heart. However, at the core of what I believe about medicine and health Now, you would not have known it to have watched me the past week because I actually broke my normal pattern of everything. I baked old familiar things with real sugar and real brown sugar and real healthy white flour. And that's what happened over here. So if you followed me around last week, you'd be like, you hypocrite. No, I'm talking about successful people move forward imperfectly. I'm not talking about being perfect 100% of the time. I'm talking about having a standard. That doesn't give you a license to go the next 3 weeks doing the same thing that you just did the last week either. Because today was payday. Today, it starts over in a refreshed kind of way. I could go, and people have asked me to talk about health and wellness and detox and all of that. I could go into that a lot, but where I want to go here is the root. When we ignore the root cause, because at the core philosophy of what I believe about wellness is that there is a root cause for any symptom that a person has. When somebody tells me about a symptom that they have been diagnosed with, my question mark goes, what's the root cause of that? Because there is a root cause of that. And so in traditional medicine, lots of times what happens is people get given instructions to hide the symptom. It does not fix the root cause. Now, I'm not going to go deeper into that because that's like almost talking politics, because I'm talking a divided conversation to a broad audience. So I'm not going to go any further in that except to say, in your relationships, if you don't deal with the root, in your business, if you don't deal with the root, in your home, if you don't deal with the root, in an organization that you lead, if you don't deal with the root, if you don't deal with the root cause, then there will continue to be a recurring of all the dysfunction and all the unhealthy that's not allowing you to advance in a way that you want to. So instead of suppressing, work through these emotions with the relationship, with the effort, with the schedule, so you get to the root. Because peace, it's on the other side of truth. Let me say that again. Peace is on the other side of truth. If I'm restless and I don't have peace, there's truth is missing. If I'm restless in a relationship, truth is missing. If I'm restless in a pathway that I'm taking, truth is missing. Peace is on the other side of truth. It may not sound like this is relevant to goal setting, but in all honesty, there's really nothing more important. This is foundational to successful goal setting. Goal setting is about deciding an outcome. The goal is an outcome. What is your goal? Well, what outcome do you want? That's as simple as goal setting is. It determines the process, and then the next step of goal setting is outcome, process to get there, and then identity. Do I see myself as someone with that outcome? That's the important piece. So outcome is the goal, process is the pathway, identity is me seeing myself as a person who could accomplish the goal I set. Outcome, process, identity. When truth is the foundation, listen, anything is possible. When truth is the foundation, anything is possible. So what truth are you not acknowledging, or you not dealing with, or you not coughing up, or you not digging out? So that given, what is it that you want that would mean the most to you in 2020? Is it earning an amount of money? Is it a greater level of influence? Is it other opportunities? Is there some definition of freedom that's important to you in 2020? Is it a promotion of some type? Is it the opportunity to learn from another person, mentor, or coach? Deciding what means the most to you is a critical starting point, because each area of change takes energy. Okay, this I want you to get. For every area of your life that you want to make a change, it's going to take energy. It's going to take time to gain the knowledge and time to do the process. It's going to take an integration into your schedule. For every goal that you set, it's going to take time. It's going to take time to learn the knowledge. It's going to take time to integrate the process. It is going to take energy to learn and to integrate. It's going to require an awareness, because and it's going to require more time with accountability, because awareness is accelerated with accountability. Awareness, we can often go blind on our own. We can tell ourselves a story, makes us feel better, but our thinking is off. When our thinking is ruled by our feeling, our thoughts will never change. Our outcome will also never change. Our outcome is our goal. If I want a different outcome, I've got to come back to recognizing that it all takes energy, knowledge, time integration, and accountability. If I leave any of those pieces out, I stall and slow down my goal process. So this is why I'm really big on saying, of all the goal categories, right, and they're all listed in your 90-day planner, of all the different goal categories that exist, all the different places where you can set a goal: spiritual, physical health, educational, career and leadership, family, personal, social, hobby, financial. Of all the places you can set a goal, pick one. Maybe pick two. Do not pick more than three, because every goal that you set requires energy, knowledge, integration, time, and accountability with someone on that goal. And so therefore, once you decide the outcome you want, then you invest in designing the process to get there. The right steps plus the process of accumulation. So the right steps in the process plus the process of accumulation. Today, tomorrow, I get an accumulation of time. If I drink Diet Coke and have chocolate chip cookies for breakfast today, okay. I do it again tomorrow. I'm going to have a very cloudy mind. I'm going to have a very unstable sugar level. I'm not going to sleep well. My gut will be messed up. My elimination will be off. My thinking will not be clear because I have not fed my body and my brain properly. If I have a Diet Coke and a cookie for breakfast once, that's just once. But the process of accumulation over and over and over. So if I want wellness, what I'm after is a game plan. What is the game plan for wellness for me? Well, for me, I found a way that works best for me. I haven't been on it the past week or maybe weeks, but what I know works best for me, I already know what that is. So I know how to get into it, how to be accountable with it, how to have a conversation about it, how to track it, what kind of energy goes into it, what kind of preparation goes into it, because I have a neural pathway for that, because I've already done it once and I know how to get back there again. But if I don't know, I'm starting at ground zero. I have to learn some knowledge. Then I have to learn how to integrate. Then I have to have accountability. And then I have to trust the process of accumulation. It's in the disappointment between starting and a couple of days in a row, a couple of weeks in a row, where we get disappointed and then we bail because we don't see things fast enough and we let our disappointment interrupt our destiny. Hello? Am I talking to anybody? So once we decide on the outcome we want, then we invest in the process, because the right steps plus the process of accumulation will yield a result if you don't give up, if you don't grow weary. Many people on any given goal give up, grow weary, jump ship before they've allowed the process of accumulation to kick in. So if you don't get distracted. So ask and answer. The last time I put a goal out there, when was the last time you put a goal out there? I mean, you put it out there. You told your husband, you told your children, you told your family and friends, you told everybody at your gym, everybody in your community knows this goal. You put it on Facebook. You threw a goal out there. The last time you put a goal out there, how long did you hold on to it before you jumped ship to go for an easier win? Okay. Maybe that's not happening. I'll go for an easier win. I'll post a better win. I'll post a faster win. I'll feel good. Instead of thinking about this, I want to feel good. And so therefore I'm going to go for this win. Anybody? Am I just talking to myself? The critical place, a couple of you, thank you for that. The critical place, which is where the 90-day planner comes in, is owning a personal, refreshed identity. When I start on the pathway of my goal, the process that's going to take me to that outcome, okay? The outcome is my goal. When I start on the process, the critical piece is where the 90-day planner comes in, is a refreshed identity, because the reality is when I start on the process, I've got to already see myself as someone who can accomplish that outcome. I've got to believe in the process, and I've got to go the distance of the process without giving up, without bailing out, without changing course, because foundational truth is if you don't see yourself, your identity, if you don't see yourself as a person who can or will accomplish the goal that you set, you will not align your choices to bring that reality back to you. You follow me? Outcome, what I want. Process, what I do every day to get there. Accumulation, I keep marching forward. but I don't see myself as someone who can do that. If I don't see myself as someone who can get there, then this comes in discouragement, that comes in disappointment, this comes in delay. Then I will back away from my goal and I will stop the process and I'll reevaluate. I'll do something else to make me feel good. And I'll come back to, I got to feel better in order for me to get there. That's a lie. You don't have to feel better in order to get there. You don't have to feel good at all. You just have to keep moving forward towards that outcome. And you've got to start believing that you are a person who can have that outcome because you're doing this process to get there. Am I making sense? Does this make sense? Are you following me? I hope so. So I'm going to walk you through how to align your choices to bring you that reality. I'll walk you to and through the process of winning here. But if you like your old thoughts better, or your old way of doing things better, or your old way of processing disappointment, delay, distraction, if you like your old way better, the results that you said you wanted, you're going to hold on to your old way, which is fine. But you will also likely get a repetitive outcome in 2019 that you got in 2019. If you want a new outcome and you really are not married to your old way, and you really do want to bring a refreshed version, a refreshed identity on the process towards that same outcome that you're still after, because now you're going to do the process differently and you're going to work on the identity piece of that. If that's you, you want to do it differently. You want to see yourself differently and you're willing to do the work. Hey, remember what I said earlier? It's hard. You're not going to hear me go, it's just so easy. Just fill in the blanks and then just, you got this. No, it's hard. And you know what? When you get there, that's when you have something to turn around and give back because you did something hard. This is where the 2%, this is when I say, if you want an extraordinary life, you got to do something extraordinary. If you want an exceptional life, you got to do something exceptional. Do you know how exceptional it is to say, this is the goal I'm after, this is the process I'm on, and I am a bulldog after it? It doesn't matter the disappointment. It doesn't matter the delay. It doesn't matter the disappointment. I got this, and I am not letting that hold me down or get me back. Yes, I can navigate other things. And I've got some other side table conversations that apply here. But before we take a deeper dive into goal setting process, I want you to consider your schedule and your lifestyle right now. Your schedule and your lifestyle right now. Is there room for you to fit this goal in? Will you make room at the table for this goal you're thinking about? Or do you need to make some more time to pivot certain other activities? What else is on your calendar or in your life that shows up as competition for this outcome that you say that you want? Is it real or is it imagined? Is it a self-professed distraction to keep you from going after it? Is it a sabotage of some sort? Or is it an actual challenge? Is it really competing, or are you adding shame, blame, guilt, self-punishment, or other people's opinions that you're actually making up? They're not really thinking it at all, but you're deciding that they are. Is it something else that you're adding to the mix that's actually holding you back? Oh, where would you like to stand in celebration of this outcome you're talking about? Is it in your community? Is it in your church? Is it in your work? Where will you stand to tell your story? And how will it bless and benefit other people when you get it right? When you get it clear? When you stop playing emotional craziness with your life? Usually, in order to add something in, something has to go. What are some things that could go? You've got things that could go that you're not even thinking about. TV, late nights, social media scrolling. There's a lot. If you take the 168 hours that are in a week and you take the number that you sleep and the number that it takes you to eat and prepare and dress and the number of your work or your job and your family and your meal preparation, your church, if you take everything out, you're going to have hours left over. And then you're going to have to ask yourself, what am I doing with those hours? You might pick up your phone and look what it says last week as your social media time was. Am I the only one who goes, what? You know, when the awareness of where you're spending your time is, then you have a lot of places you can make a pivot. Something has to go, but here's the beauty, only you can decide. I'm not that judge. I wouldn't dare tell you where you can let go of something. You have to decide. This is your life. You are the most qualified person to make decisions about your life than any other person. Yes, you. You can decide about your life. You're waiting for somebody else to tell you so that you can blame somebody else if something doesn't go right. No, you take charge. Ownership means ownership. saying no to many other things in order to say yes to the one thing. James Clear says, new goals don't deliver new results, new lifestyles do. New goals don't deliver new results. New lifestyles deliver new results. New lifestyles do. It's the process of goal setting that works, not the goal alone. If I decide an outcome, but then I create a process that would never produce that outcome, I live absent in integrity and confusion because I already know that what I'm doing is not going to produce that result. This is another issue. So the one issue is not seeing myself in the identity of the outcome. I've got to work on how I see myself and believing that if I set that goal prayerfully, carefully, then as I do the process moving forward, the identity will begin to line up because I'm going to create a new lifestyle in the next 90 days because lifestyles create results. But then there's the other piece, the actual process itself. If I set a goal to... I hate to use wellness goals, but I do use them a lot. But I don't want them to be the focal point. I use them because they're measurable. They're just so stinking easy to use because they're measurable. And because I've been on all ends of the spectrum as a cookie dough eater to a keto fanatic and accomplished intermittent fasting. I've been on all spectrums of it, right? So I've been very transparent about my own journey, my own struggles with emotional eating. I've been very open about that. And so I think the reason I go there is because people look at me and they decide that I've never had a problem or still don't have a problem that I need to work through. Hey, y'all, we all have problems. We all have issues. We all have things we have to work through. You know what? This could be really, really happy, really at peace, really in charge, really excited. Let me tell you something else that this look could represent. Depressed. The next time you see this face on someone, this depressed looks like this too. See, because you don't know what's going on in a person's life. And so I'm here to tell you that nobody knows what's going on in your life either. And that's why you're the authority in making these decisions only if you're going to get honest and transparent about it. And so if I set the goal of, let's say, losing, let's say I'm a person who needs to lose 40 pounds. That is not my goal, and that is not what my mind is referring. But let's say I'm a person who needs to lose 40 pounds. And that's my goal. But every single day, I see myself as not a person who is 40 pounds thinner. I see myself as a person who eats cookie dough. I will never get there because the identity, I still identify with a person who is privately, quietly eating. Okay. I won't get there because of the identity. Okay. Even if I have a perfect process. Let's say that I have the identity. I really see myself as that person because I was her before. I've got that size jean on. I got a picture of it. I'm looking at myself. I'm like, yeah, that's me. I've been her before. I just got to get there. But my process is processed foods, too many meats, absolutely no fasting. I stop eating at 10 o'clock at night. I start eating at 6 in the morning. I don't even give my body time to digest. My process is wrong. I will never hit the goal because my process is wrong. So your outcome is out there. Your identity is right here. And your process. Let me ask you about your goal in 2019. The outcome that you said, I am going to hit it. Was your process spot on? Was your process foolproof? Is the way you've invested yourself, your time, your energy, your effort, your activity, did that process get you closer to that goal? What was it that was not right? Was it the goal itself? Was it an improper process, or was it a wrong identity? Are you following me? See, if I never produce the outcome, it's because I live in absent integrity and confusion because I already know that what I'm doing is not going to produce that result. I may find wins. I may look like I'm winning. I may sound like I'm winning, but I already know what I'm doing is not going to produce that. In order for me to produce that, I got to do something way different in order to get that outcome. Is that you? Can you relate? Do you know what I'm saying? Am I being clear? Is it starting to make sense? The process is actually more important than the outcome because the process gives you an opportunity to win every 5 minutes. The process gives you an opportunity to win every half hour. The process gives you an opportunity to win every hour, every day, every week, every weekend. The process gives you so many opportunities to win. If you only focus on the goal, I got to get the goal. I got to hit that. I got to be there. I got to go there. Then you only get to win once. But if you focus on the process, you get to win, 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 win. And the more you win, if your process is actually taking you towards that outcome, okay? You got to make sure that your outcome and your process work. And you need somebody to cross-check this, somebody who's a success in that area of the life that you're working on. Is this process going to produce that outcome? It's for somebody who's in an authority in an area, they can either tell you yes or no. And then the identity. Okay, so the process is actually more important because it's an opportunity to get win after win each and every day that builds the identity of a winning person who could accomplish said outcome. When you have the right process for the outcome, your identity says multiple times a day, I'm the kind of person who can get that outcome because I'm winning right now, because I'm doing what I said I would do. And this process will produce, hands down, non-negotiable, 1,000,000% that outcome. Isn't that exciting? See, what happens is we set an outcome, an improper process, and we have all these random feelings like, oh, something's off, something's wrong. So, and then we start getting mad at other people. It's his fault, it's her fault, it's this fault, it's not right, it's that, it's this, that. Well, I can never hit that because this isn't working. Right, you're right, it's not working. It's not working because it's the way you're approaching it. It's not working because you don't identify with the outcome, and you're not identifying with the outcome because what you're doing every day is not taking you closer to that outcome. Okay. 90-day planner process. 90 days is not about what you're giving up. See, that's where a lot of people like that they don't even do a wellness or a health and wellness with food because it's like, oh, I don't want to give up. Okay, when you're gripping the way you are, I'm holding on to what I am. I'm holding on. It's not palms open. Lord, guide me. I want to keep what I want to keep. It's not, I want truth. I want transparency. I want to live in honesty. I want to live in peace. And I'm willing, whatever you show me during this 90 minutes that we're on here together, I am willing to let it go and completely redirect. Woo! I got goosebumps head to toe. Anybody else have goosebumps? Whew, I'm excited. 90 days is not about what you're giving up. It's about proving to yourself that you can keep your word. So stop disappearing on yourself. Anybody disappear on yourself last year? Like, where'd I go? What happened to me? Where did I go? Yeah, stop disappearing on yourself. That's what 90 days is all about. Okay, principles of design your life. There are 7 of them. And I think I have a picture that Curtis J might have that he can put up. Okay. Here are the principles of the 90-day process. Number 1, excited though, you can change anything in 90 days. Woo! Get excited. I can change it in 90 days. I can change the cookie dough. I can change my head. I can change what I'm memorizing. I can change any goal that I'm willing to set. I can change it in 90 days. I can create more wealth in 90 days. I can save more in 90 days. I can generate more in 90 days. I can create a better relationship in 90 days because I can speak words of kindness and love, put myself second. I can change anything in 90 days. That's principle number 1. Number 2, you can't change what you won't acknowledge. Hello. You cannot change what you won't acknowledge. So you may be able to change anything, but if you don't acknowledge it, like if you're stubborn, if you're just stubborn and you like your facade better than accomplishment, better than your outcome, then you can't change it because you cannot change what you will not acknowledge. Hey, if you're liking this and you haven't shared it with your Facebook friends, share it. Just hit that share button. It will go to all of your Facebook friends, and then it'll start over for them at the very beginning. They'll jump in at the very beginning. I don't think it'll jump in here. I think it'll start over for them. Number 3, you can't live your values until you know what they are, which is why taking the time to sit down and really think through, what do I really value? It's not what your parents valued. It's not what I value for you. It's not what somebody else who's been an authority in your life has valued. It's what do you really value? If you want peace around and peace within, you got to be honest with what do I really value? You can't live your values, and you won't until you know what they are. Number 4, you don't break a habit. You replace it with a new, more effective one. Number 5, time invested in one area is time away from another. Choose wisely. You being here with me tonight, I'm so honored and I'm so grateful. And I pray you're getting something from it. I pray it's a blessing. I pray you're hearing what you need to hear. I pray you grab something that will let you go the distance this year, 2020, and make a difference in this year for you. Because time invested in this is time away from doing something else. You're not watching a Lifetime movie. You're not eating another piece of jam cake. You're not making another batch of cookies because somebody ate the last one. Time invested with me tonight is you not doing one of those things. Me with you tonight is me not doing that or something else. So the yes to this is a no to many other things. So recognize every single day, time invested in one area is time away from another. People ask me often to do things for them. Will you do this? Will you come here? Well, can we come there? Sometimes I am flexible with my yes and no, but really I know well enough, what is honoring to the people around me that I've already committed myself to, what's honoring to my family, so that I can feel good with my yes and not guilty with my no. It doesn't make everybody around me happy and go, oh, she's so perfect, she's so great, that's so wonderful, she said yes. I'm not a yes person. I am a person, a woman of integrity who honors yes and no, and I want you to have that same amount of peace. Number 6, change can be hard. It is hard. The pain of regret is always more powerful, more vicious, more intoxicating than the pain of change. Number 7, if you don't intentionally alter, pivot, or shift the direction of your life, it will continually move in the same direction. Take it to the bank. Okay, we are going to start in the 90-day process. I'm going to leave these on. I want to walk you through the process. Now, what I'm talking to you now about is the 90-day planner. I designed it for myself years and years ago after I had worked through Franklin Planner, Daytimer. I had worked through every planner system that was out there, and nothing combined in the way that I wanted it to. My goals, my daily to-do list, and an opportunity for me to pivot my behaviors, my habits, into recognizing myself in the identity of someone who could accomplish that outcome. Because inside of the 90-day planner is the goal, the outcome that I want, the process, the daily steps to get there, and the identity, which we're going to come back to in a minute, as habits. Because when we come back to the habits, what we start to realize is that nothing changes when you just keep your schedule on a half-hour block. You write in your appointments, nothing changes. Nothing changes if about every week or so you think, oh gosh, yeah, I'm a person who, and you work on your habit or your wellness. You know, if you think about it every week or every 90 days or on your birthday or New Year's Eve, nothing changes. So in the 90-day process, what I'm after is, what's my outcome, goal? Keep it on my mind every single day, every single day, every single day. And then the space between 7 days in a louder way. What's the process? It's in my to-do list. It's in my to call, to write, my activity, the process. Will the process take me towards my goal? And then identity. The identity shows up in my habits. If I do not have the habits of a person who gets that outcome, I will never accomplish the goal, because I don't see myself by identity as a person who would do that. So even you may or may not have the planner, you may or may not use the planner. I'm not trying to sell you a planner. I'm teaching you a process. So for me, I wanted it all in one place. I'm going to start at the beginning, and I'm going to talk very quickly and very briefly about a few things. What I love about the first page is this: take a challenge, add 5 years to your life. Okay, you don't have to put it in the chat, but add 5 years to your life. How old will you be in 5 years? How do you like that number? Some of you are like, yeah, it's not a problem. So you're like, holy moly, I'm in the holy moly category. Add 5 years to your life. Then the testament here is, what will my blank-year-old self thank me for doing, becoming, achieving, thinking, sacrificing in this 90 days? When I'm 5 years older, what will I thank myself for today? When I'm 5 years older, what will I thank myself for working on today in the next 90 days? To me, that is a truth teller right there. As you flip through, there are many self-describing pages that you don't need a lot of effort for somebody to tell you what they mean. However, you do have to take the time to sit down and think them through. What's my bucket list? In my vision, what would make 2020 the best year ever? What are the top 5 things I want to have happen this 90 days? You write out some mission statements. And y'all, by the way, there are a library of free instructional videos on how to do this process and on how to answer these pages. They're on PamelaShaw.pink. They're on my YouTube page, Design Your Life, Pamela Shaw. Just put that in the search engine. And then the next piece of this is the goal. Why do I want this goal? What is the long-term goal? What is the short-term goal? What is the benchmark goal? I'm not going to walk all the way through that piece because it's really self-explanatory. You're like, what's a benchmark goal? Well, if I've got an outcome and I've got 90 days, let's say I've got an outcome that I want to hit this time next year. Same time next year. When we meet up this time next year, what's the one big goal and what category that you want to hit? Okay. Or you could take a June 30th goal. What's a 6-month goal that you want to hit? Either way, 6 month or 1 year, you fill out the goal that you totally are committed to hitting. And then why do I want it? What is the goal? How will I measure it? And then how will I know at the end of month 1 that I'm on course, at the end of month 2, at the end of month 3? And then what am I going to do to honor each of these goals? It's really fill in the blank, but you have to think about it. You have to really think about it. Okay, then there's a place in here for your affirmations. And yes, I'm going to tell you straight up, I type mine out and I record them. I do not rewrite them every single time because I have them written and laminated for my shower. I have them written in here and I have them recorded on my iPhone and I listen to them. So here's the important thing about affirmations, and the reason they're in here is because I want to be able to go back and look at them at the end of every week. I'm going to explain that in just a minute. How you talk to yourself influences the next reality you build in your brain. How you talk to yourself influences the next reality you build in your brain. The way you talk to yourself now has built literal real estate in your brain. There are grooves in your neural pathways of your brain. And in those grooves is information that you stored yesterday. It's the way you see yourself. So in order for you to change the identity, the way you see yourself as someone who could hit that goal, that outcome, you have got to talk to yourself in a way that aligns with becoming that person. Now, the problem that people have with affirmations is they usually oftentimes do not do them right. And when they record them or when they do them, they say things like, let's say it says, I am a fit, 5-week-a-day gym girl, and I weigh this and I eat only that. And your subconscious goes, no, you're not. No, you're not. And so then, so that's a bad way to do affirmations. A good way to do affirmations is, I am becoming more aware of every healthy bite I take, knowing that it feeds my brain, which feeds my gut, which feeds my brain, and I am taking charge of the knowledge of my health and wellness. Yes, I am. I'm in the process of doing that. So you want your affirmations, once you've declared them, you want your subconscious mind to go, yes, that's true. Yes, I am. So a lot of your affirmations can be in the present tense, but they're also in the I'm becoming, or the action that I'm taking, or the thoughts that I'm thinking are taking me closer to, or the process that I'm doing, or I'm a person of tenacity, which builds a process of accumulation. There's a whole Facebook Live on just affirmations. So you can go back and look at them, and I'll bring it back and redo it for you coming up. But affirmations, you want to check PamelaShaw.pink or what's in the library. Again, on YouTube, just put in the search engine, Design Your Life, Pamela Shaw, and those will come up and you can watch them for free on setting your affirmations. You're like, okay, wait a minute. You said, think back through the past, answer the past questions, fill out the new goals, and now you're talking affirmations. I am. So let's just all take a deep cleansing breath. I'm going to ask you a really simple question. Do you want 2020 to be different? Are you willing to work, think, and live differently? It's going to take some time to set it up. And we're in a bridge of 5 days. And you've got the time if you'll take it. And if you'll trade it in for TV, social media, an hour of sleep every night. If you trade it in for an hour of sleep every night, that gives you 5+ hours. If you trade it in for an hour of TV, now you have 10 hours. If you trade in an hour a day for social media, now you have 15 hours. It's more than enough time. 15 hours is more than a wealth of time to do what I'm talking about. Affirmations are important because how you talk to yourself influences the next reality you build in your brain. The next section is the habits to create. This is a critical section. The habits to create are just as simple as this. Bad thinking leads to bad choices, which leads to weak habits, which leads to bad behavior, and the cycle of your life. Bad thinking leads to bad choices, which leads to weak habits, which leads to bad behavior, and this cycle defines your life. I'm going to say it one more time. Bad thinking leads to bad choices, which leads to weak habits, which leads to bad behavior. And this cycle defines your life. The habits that you work on in every single planner and every single 90-day planner, there are either 2 or 3 that you can decide that you're going to work on. I will guarantee you right now that if you don't write this habit on every single day, you will forget the habit that you're working on, which is why the 90-day planner works, because when we get into the 7-day pages, 1 page at a time, you're going to write in that key habit that you're working on every single time. This says, I'm going to break the habit of blank by creating the habit of blank and blank. By creating the habit of blank, and then it gives you 2 things that you're going to do to create the habit. Again, focusing on 1 over 2 or 3 or 4 is super, super important. Okay, according to Dr. Caroline Leaf, everything you do or think builds a physical structure in your brain. And if you keep doing and thinking whatever it may be, if you keep doing and thinking it over and over and over, if you're building a new structure, it will take 21 to 63 days. It will become a habit, good or bad, healthy or unhealthy. If you keep thinking it, if you keep ruminating on it, be careful what you're thinking, because whatever you're thinking is building a structure in your brain. And it's either healthy and full of life-giving to other people, or it is unhealthy and it is creating brain damage. Not kidding, not exaggerating, not being funny. If your thought is unhealthy and not in alignment with God's true word, and it's mean and it's destructive and it's not even true, it is building an unhealthy structure in your brain. This has to do with the way you assign emotions to people. It can be the way that you ignore unhealthy behaviors with people around you. It all adds up, and getting to an honest place to what you recognize, what you're thinking, think about what you're thinking is really key. If you want to take charge of your future, you've got to start with taking charge of your actions and what you think, and what you think is a habit. Thoughts that get to go rogue, untrue thoughts, incorrect defensive thoughts that keep you in an unhealthy place, they also add up. At some point, we have to look at the writing on the wall, and we have to become painstakingly honest about who is for us and who is healthy around us and what is healthy or unhealthy within us. It's a lot to think about. You're like, okay, I'm getting anxious. Okay, that's a good sign, because awareness will create some anxiety before peace becomes the benchmark of it. So this piece of the 90-day planner is set apart. Habits to create a healthier you. Can you agree with me? Outcome, process, no new habits. My identity will never line up with my outcome. Outcome, goal, process. I'm doing the activity that's actually going to bring that goal when I do it long enough. And because my thoughts are lining up, and I'm attacking every untruthful thought, I'm attacking every unhealthy person coming at me, a toxic behavior, an enabling behavior, even if it's hard, I'm going to address it. I know now that I'm a person who can get that outcome because of the way that I'm living and thinking. This piece of the 90-day planner sets it apart, because the habits that create a healthier you are critical. Goal setting without fully considering behaviors and habits. It's like planning a dinner party for 40 people and going to the grocery store without a list. You won't remember. You won't even remember to get butter. You won't remember. You've got to have the list in front of you, the habit in front of you. So unless you're willing to both capture thoughts and create new habits, goal setting is pretty futile. It's a big, big component of achieving and succeeding. Capturing your thoughts, setting your habits in order to achieve the goals. To achieve a goal, you've got to become a person who could walk, jog, sprint across that finish line and know that you can, and that you can count on yourself, and that you are not going to bail, and that you are going to go the distance, because the activity that you're creating is activity that will produce that outcome if you will just be a person who will do that activity for long enough to get across that finish line. There are things about accomplishment that demand change and growth. Remember what I quoted James Clear as saying earlier, new goals don't deliver new results, new lifestyles do. And a lifestyle is not an outcome, it's a process. And so for this reason, all of your energy should go into building better habits, not chasing results. Okay, let me go a step further into the planner, and let's talk about a few more. Let's the daily piece of this, okay? Because there's a master task list, things to brain dump in here. Focus and clarity. There is a blank 90-day calendar for you to track other things. I've tracked things on this 90-day calendar, such as, the number of people that I call, or the number of days that I did intermittent fasting, or the number of days that I did keto with X macros. I've tracked a lot of different things in here. I don't use this 90 days as my calendar. I use the fold-out calendar as my calendar, and then I use the sticky pad as my half-hour schedule appointments, and I do that all the time, and I've done that for 25 years. 25 years. But the blank calendar in the front, I usually track a goal, a habit, because that's great to go back and look at. Okay, so the first thing we have is a weekly plan sheet. There are only 7 days in a week, and there are only so many wake hours. Depending on your own sleep schedule, I would say that everybody has to get 7 hours sleep. There are people who will disagree with me on that. I get between 8 and 9 every single night. I go to bed early, like it's getting close to my bedtime. Ooh, I better hurry up. Stop. Ooh, better talk faster. Sorry. Okay, well, if you have to go, you have to go, but I'll just keep talking because I want to finish what I have prepared for you. There are only so many hours in a day, and so you've got to negotiate those and fill out that at the start. Every day has a fresh either proverbs or quote from someone at the top. Mine for today was this. I love it. It's my own quote. There's nothing more invigorating than genuinely getting back on track. How about that for today? Okay, so on every single day, there is the opportunity to do your half hour at a time planning. You plan this at night before you go to bed so that when you go to bed, there's nothing competing for your thoughts. 9 nights out of 10, when I hit the pillow, well, first of all, my room is pitch black. There is no LED light. There is no noise. I turn the air conditioning on even in the winter so that the fan is on and it's constant. It's a cool 61, 62 degrees. I sleep under big, thick comforters. I have a heating pad at the bottom of my bed for my feet. I have perfect pillows for my room, and the room is pitch black. These are things that I have created based on science on how to sleep better, deeper, more solid every single night. By 10 p.m., your body clock resets, literally resets. So if you're not in bed by 10 p.m., Dr. Colry Chartery, author of The Prime, says that your body, your biorhythms start all over again. You're like, yeah, I kind of get my second wind at 10. Yeah, you do, because your body's trying to shut down. It's trying to tell you that it's going to sleep. But if you push past 10, it is going to reset. You will get a second wind, but it won't be a healthy second wind. And so going to sleep and getting on a regular sleep schedule is one thing that truly most healthy, successful people come to agreement that it is important to do. My point is that when I hit the pillow, I go to sleep almost immediately because I don't have to think about, oh, I forgot to write this down. Oh, I meant to tell so-and-so. Oh, I forgot to call so-and-so. I meant to tell so-and-so. No, it's all already here. I did it before I went to sleep. This is called framing your day. And there's a place for you to frame your morning and frame your evening. The frame of your day is the first 2 hours and the last hour of your day. The first 2 hours and the last hour of your day. When there's structure in those two places, there's a lot of room for good stuff to happen in between. When there is no structure here and you're kind of running by the seat of your pants with your hair on fire in the morning and you're trying to run around at night and, hair on fire at night, then the reality is everything in the middle is just too chaotic to be in a process towards an outcome. And that's the reality. So if you want to frame your day, it talks about framing your day. What's your wake time, quiet time, affirmation, exercise, power hour, gratitude, bedtime. Frame your day in the evening. 6 most important list, half hour plan, blank, 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 gratitude and surrender. So what is your gratitude and what is your surrender? And what else do you want to fit in there? What else goes in here for me is set out my supplements, preset my coffee, set the AC, walk and crate the dog, turn the air conditioning to 62, turn on the alarm system. What is my gratitude for the day? What is my surrender for the day? And that is the frame of my evening. If I've written down tomorrow, half hour at a time, knowing that when I wake up, I already know what to do next. I already know when I wake up, the coffee is set. I already know when I wake up, I turn the alarm off. I turn the air back off. I go downstairs. I open my quiet time. I have meditation first, and then I go into my quiet time, and I know which books that I'm reading. I've been doing a 21-day detox with Dr. Leaf's app. I'm on day 20 tomorrow. So I know that that's going to be a part of my quiet time. In the season of life that I'm in, the frame of my day is from 5 to 7. It's quiet time. You're like, oh my gosh, that's such a luxury. It is, but y'all, I've been around the block a couple of times. I'm not 19 anymore. And so, yeah, it is a luxury, and it's a lifestyle that I have created. Because I don't stay up late, and I don't, oh, God forbid, watch the news at night. Never watch the news at night. I don't watch TV from my room anymore, even though I have a TV in my room. And if I do watch TV from my room, I'll come up earlier, like 7:30 or 8, and watch something from my room. But by 9 o'clock, it is lights out. I'm sharing with you to give you some ideas, not to try to convert you to my lifestyle, not to convert you to my frame of my day, to invite creativity for you to think, what does the frame of your day look like? What gives you peace inside and peace around? I'm not trying to say my way is the only way. I'm inviting you through these are all blank lines. These are fill in the blank. These are not my frame. These are for you to frame, for you to frame. And when you do that work at night, then the reality is you will sleep well because you won't be thinking, I need to call, I need to write, I need to do that, I forgot to do it. In the prayer journal in the very beginning, there's some blank lines in the very beginning of that actually says, what do I want the frame of my day to look like? What do I want my 5 key behaviors to look like? What's the morning frame of my day? What are the things I want to do? So here's what I do to frame my day. Up at 5. Oil pull, coffee, quiet time, BSF, affirmations, dog, dress, dry brush, D1, respond to technology, eat, 6 most importance. That's the frame of my morning in that order. What's the frame of my evening? Reset sticky note for tomorrow, supplements, coffee, dog crate, house alarm, bed, face, body, PM supplements, massage my feet, retainer, PM affirmations. So I know what an ideal day looks like. You can't live an ideal day until you've designed an ideal day for yourself. That's the important piece. So now we've got on every single page, we've got frame of my morning, frame of my evening, my nutrition, I met the goal of, some blank space to write, and then my top 3 things. What are my top 3 things today that are going to bring me to a place of accomplishment? What's the process of my day? It's going to bring me in the process towards that outcome. And then key behaviors. Key behaviors. So the top 3 things, you're really rewriting out the goal, the activity for the goal that's the most important to you. And then your key behaviors, these are the habits that bring the person, the identity of a person who can have that outcome. What are my key behaviors for today? Every single day. If you do it once in a spiral notebook tonight and you don't do it every day, you will not remember. If I ask you 10 days from now, you will not remember what habit you wrote down or what key behavior you wrote down or what the frame of your day is. It takes attention and it takes repetition. Then on the other side of the 90-day planner, 6 most important things to do. Who am I going to call, text, email, or write? What do I delegate or put out or have as errands? What about for my family and home? And what about for the evening? Go 7 days like that. At the end of 7 days is the space between 7 days. Here's what I want to tell you about the space between 7 days. The space between 7 days is your money. The Israelites took 40 years to get to the promised land. It should have taken them 40 days. Why did it take them 40 years? They couldn't remember that God had provided. They couldn't remember what he had told them, and they disobeyed with what he gave them in the whisper. They disobeyed what he gave them in the whisper. They disobeyed what he gave them in the roar. They couldn't remember. Our biggest handicap as human beings is we can't remember. We can't remember what took us down that rabbit trail. We can't remember the relationship that took us down that negative pathway. We can't remember the words that caused that other friendship to fade. We can't remember that the outcome requires a process relevant to the outcome. If I'm doing a process and it's a really good process, but it's not relevant to that outcome, I can't want that goal because my process isn't even close to that goal. Therefore, my identity is not in belief because I know that what I'm doing is not going to produce that outcome. This is where every day gets important. The space between 7 days invites you to do something that absolutely no other planner and no other process taught invites you to do. And it's to go back to the very beginning and look at your goals from the very beginning. Reread them. Roll over last week's tasks, reprioritize, key behaviors to support my wins, redesign my week, recommit to my goals. It starts out with reflect. Reflect. I started too fast. The week has ended, recalibrate. If you've ever had a piano or a musical instrument, you know that it has to be recalibrated to stay in tune. So the week has ended, let me recalibrate. Can you imagine 52 times a year recalibrating? 52 times a year reminding yourself of your goal, writing it down 365 times. Writing it down into your key behavior. Can you imagine if you did it that way, what you would remember? Reflect. What did I do well? What am I proud of? What were my wins? Where did I fail? What did I learn? Every week, at the end of every week, on a Sunday, before the new week starts, review your long-term, short-term goals. Go back, look at them. Are these still my goals? Is my behavior lining up? Rewrite, condense the goals, write them out again. Do your brain a favor. Neural pathway is saying all over again, these are my goals, these are my goals. Reconsider, how can I better focus? How can I improve, tweak, or adjust? What am I learning? Realign, what will make this a winning week? Now you're back into what we're talking about tonight, but after only 7 days. Not 70 days, not 90 days, after 7 days. Roll over. Go back through and look at last week. What can I roll over into this week? Check master task list. Is there anything that goes on here? Blah, blah, blah. It's all self-explanatory. The space between 7 days is critical. Here's what I'm going to invite you to do. This is a little glass vase, and it has 52 marbles in it. This represents 1 week of every week in the next year. So when this week ends, I'm going to take one of them out. I have invested 1 week of my life. 2 weeks of my life are now gone. 3 weeks. A month of my new life in new 2020 is gone. Not really yet. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Here's a 90-day planner. A 90-day planner is complete. That's how fast time goes. That's how fast it's going to go. Psalm 91 says, teach us to number our days so that we may gain a heart of wisdom. God's word tells us that the respect for time equals wisdom. And when we don't respect our time, and we don't respect the goal, and when we don't review the goal, and when we don't repeat the process, and when we don't evaluate how we're actually doing from an honest place, the peace around us and the peace within us continues to escape us. But when we respect the time, when we do the process, when we know that the process will take us to the outcome, when we work on the habits to become a person that we can count on, not forget everybody else counting on, we can count on ourselves to do what we say we're going to do, then we change our lifestyle. And as James Clear says, it's not goals that change people and change victories, it's lifestyles that change. So, okay, what do you think so far? How are we doing? I'm going to check in because it is, it's going to be a little bit longer than I thought, but I really want to, while I'm at it, I'm going to bring you the completion of it instead of giving you a part 2. So if you're with me, and I appreciate you sticking with me. Thank you for putting on your sleep pants and your fuzzy slippers and your patience, because I know I'm doing some repetition tonight, but I pray that the repetition becomes a benefit to you, that you'll really be able to get it, and that you're willing to get it, and that you're willing to invest the time to get it, because I believe that it's going to make a difference. So I have one question for you as we go from this place to the segue, as we go to part 2. What are you avoiding just because you know the answer is painful? Oh, I hate to say a question like that when I'm getting all that love and all those hearts, because I know they're going to stop, because you're like, what? What are you avoiding just because you know the answer is painful? I want you to consider previous obstacles that have tripped you up. What are some things that tripped you up in 2019? I want to talk with you very transparently about this tonight. For some people, it's the same time of year, and I get that. For me, by the time October rolls around and November starts, the beginning of November, it's a difficult time. My late husband, Jerry, passed away on December 2nd, 2006. It's been 13 years. And so the month of November was full of the end of ALS. And I don't know what you know about Lou Gehrig's disease, but it's a very difficult disease, a very difficult pathway. So November reminds me of that November, the pink skies, the pink sunrises and sunsets that are typical of fall in Kentucky, Thanksgiving. Just the time of year is very different. The weather starts to cool off, the leaves start to fall. It's a very specific time of year. And I start to get this feeling. The first couple of years that I got it, I thought, well, it's just, it's the first anniversary. Of course I'm going to feel sad. And it's the second anniversary. So it's just been 2 years. And, okay, so it's the third year. And then I didn't expect it. It just would be like for those of you who are no strangers to grief, you know exactly what I'm talking about, because grief is like an uninvited 2x4. You can be going along in your life and everything's going great, and then bam, all of a sudden from behind, an emotion or a smell or a song or a sunset or something is like, just brings it all back. Well, I started to notice after a few years that November was hard and that December was hard. and that without him in our lives, it was loud. And then some of the challenges that Thomas had on his journey, he is doing great today, by the way, but the journey for him as a teenager and for me as a single mom were very challenging. Like Stephen Furtick said, I didn't think it was going to be like this. It's not what I planned. And so I started to recognize that every year, come November and December, it was a problem. And so I decided to take charge of that. Instead of it taking me off guard, instead of it hitting me in the back of the head by a 2x4, I have redesigned the way I do those 2 months. I do still host our family for Thanksgiving, and so I make a big deal out of making delicious food for that. I've posted, you've probably seen my Thanksgiving meal. I think it happens to be one of the best meals ever. But in December, several years ago, I started going away by myself. We'll go to Anna Maria Island, rent a house, stay there, write, read, eat, pray, sleep, kind of not India, but Anna Maria. And then this past year, I went with a good friend of mine. And so I've started applying self-care in a different way because I recognize that a certain time of year trips me up. And I cannot afford to lose 2 months to grief and to sadness without just dealing with those emotions. So I share that with you, not to overshare, but to invite you to think. Maybe for you, it's also the same time of year, but for a different reason. Some people get sadness in November, even if they live in a warm climate, but they have to address it. You can't just say, oh, it's that time of year and I'm sad, and so therefore I'm going to crawl in a hole for 2 months. That's not okay. It's not okay if you're called to serve other people or called to do certain things in your life, and all of us are called to do something. So think back through 2019. Yes, you think back your 2019 and which months tend to be the most challenging for you, whether it's because of old wounds or your family or a particularly busy schedule or recurring events or birthdays or holidays. Whatever it is, if you can identify a month or a season that's harder for you, get proactive and redesign it. It doesn't have to be that way. You can do it differently. You can overcome that more effectively this year if you anticipate that maybe, like for me, November, December are more challenging. I don't want to lose 2 months a year. And I also don't want to hide from them and not acknowledge that they're difficult. So I've got the blend of acknowledging what's difficult about them and choosing to live healthily and or serve and or give and or do some self-care and take some downtime. Known distractions that pull or tug at your priorities. You can't work your business, your job, your hobby, or your passion 6 months out of the year and expect full-time rewards. Hello? Maybe it's not your calendar that vacillates. Maybe it's your belief. Maybe you allow unmet expectations to steal your joy and derail your belief. Or maybe your willingness wanes. Right here, it's a place for you to work. If you get derailed during a recurring time of year, or there's a recurring argument with a spouse or a friend or a parent, it could be anything. Times of year, birthdays, celebrations, finals, if you're a college student, concerts or performances, if you're in the arts, ask yourself, is there a pattern for me as to when I let go of what I said I wanted? And ask it out loud. And look back at your calendar. Look at 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019. I'll bet you there's a window of time where you have a hiccup. And if you haven't noticed the pattern yet, I'm inviting you to look for your pattern so that you can do something about it. Does anything recurring in your life come to your mind? Can you identify with what I'm saying? Did you have too little help or no help or no delegated help? Did you let go of that because you couldn't afford it? Okay, that identity is not a person who can accomplish that outcome. So what did you let go of? Will you let this keep happening, or will you design a better way to navigate the interruption or the distraction so that you honor your true values in this competition of your goal and that other thing that you keep forgetting about? There's a competition for your goal and this recurring thing. Who will win? You unlikely will be able to imagine a more positive future unless you honestly deal with this aspect, because you will on a subconscious level know the scenario that has tripped you up before it recurs, and your unwillingness to design a better design or not at all, it will beat you every single time. It beat me until I decided to take charge of it and to redesign it. Dr. Leaf says on day 248 in her Devo, that to think positively about prospects, we must be able to imagine ourselves in the future. Our brains have stamps from the past, but they're being rewired by our expectation of the future. Imagining a positive future reduces the pain of the past. Imagining a more positive future reduces the pain of the past. Hope leads to expectation, which creates peace. Remember what we're after? We're really after peace. That goal is the thing that we want, but what we're after is peace. Peace around us, peace within us. Hope leads to expectation, which creates peace, excitement, and health in our minds, thus increasing our body and brain health. Dr. Joe says, if you can influence your brain to change, before you experience a desired future event, you will create appropriate neural pathway circuits that enable you to have proper alignment with your intention before it becomes a reality in your life. And that literally means that if you can mentally visit a new future different from your past, and you expect that reality to occur and emotionally embrace the outcome, then you would for a moment be living in that future reality and conditioning your body to believe it, and therefore you choose behavior to take you there. Woo! Did you get that? I hope you got that. If not, I hope you play it back. That moves us to the incredible value of visualization. Yes, a vision board. Images of your goals and your desired future. I've known for years and years and years and years that what I put on a goal poster or a vision board that I look at every day, that was a part of my subconscious mind every day. The year that I met Jerry Shaw, I put a picture of Kevin Costner. It was the biggest thing on my board. I hadn't dated consistently. I had not had a date, but I was opening up my heart. And this picture of Kevin Costner, the year Dances with Wolves came out. Any of you remember that movie? It's the year I met Jerry. We saw Dances with Wolves 3 times in the movie theater that year. I do not for 2 seconds doubt, and I could take you through a lot of other goal posters and a lot of other realities as a result of that. But this moves us to the incredible value of visualization. Images of your desired future. This literally changes your brain to look at your desired future. Surgeons and professional athletes practice this all the time. Perfect outcome practiced in their mind. Einstein said that the imagination is more important than knowledge because imagination is unlimited and knowledge is limited. Your vision board brings clarity. It brings in reinforcements. It's like, yes, that is what I want. Yes, I said it. I wrote it. I'm living it, and I'm visualizing it. It prepares your brain in advance to go ahead and take you there. It's not hocus pocus. It is reality. It's how our brains are wired. It invites repetition visualization throughout the day, which is key that you can see it throughout the day. Also, other people in your home or people who visit you see it, and then you have shared accountability. You put it out there louder as a visual. Possibilities mindset is what is created. When you look at it, your mind goes into possibilities, things you want but that have not yet happened in your view throughout most of each and every day. It grows in your imagination. Oh gosh, I want to read you something from this book, How to Build a Better Brain, but I know that I'm like way over my time. Okay, I'm going to read this to you. What page? I marked it. Okay, this is about visualization. Is anybody still with me? Okay. The book is Build a Better Brain. My friend Carrie Wilkerson recommended this book to me. It is by Peter Hollins. It's awesome. In this chapter, we'll learn about mechanisms that lead us to have stronger yes or no responses and how to control them to produce the behavior and habits that you want. Usually a more powerful yes response and a weakened no response. The yes response is, yes, I can do this. Yes, I can have this. Yes, I can own this. Yes, I can go this distance. A no response is,